fundamental shayla in Hilchos Shabbos, and that is anytime we have a chayla she'ein boi sakana, what are you allowed to do for that chayla? So we've already spoken about the heter of Amir La'akum, very important. And then we went into the heter of Shin Chav Ches Sif Yud Zayin, which we said was the Day of Shlishis in the Shulchan Aruch, which is to do Dirabbanans with a shinui. Dirabbanans with a shinui. We ended off with a shayla, which is really a earth-shattering shayla, and the question is called a diaper rash. Called a diaper rash. And you have a diaper rash. Hopefully you, thank you. The baby has diaper rash, and baby needs cream. Baby needs cream. So first of all, obviously, is this put the child in the level of chayla she'ein boi sakana? So we said any tzarech of the child, seemingly his difficulties would place him there as well. So what are you allowed to do? We said Dirabbanans with a shinui. So based off of that, what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to take cream, which is a Dirabbanan cream, which we're going to explain in a moment. It's recording, don't worry. Dirabbanan cream, and put on with a shinui. What would be a Dirabbanan cream versus Daraisa cream? So it's a little bit complicated. And the easiest gather that we could give is something that holds its own shape. For example, and any example we give is difficult because every item in the world has 17 subcategories. So I'm going to say Vaseline, and you're going to be thinking, yeah, there's this watery type of Vaseline, and I'm talking about a brick. So obviously everything is complicated, so we're going to try to explain it. A tub of Vaseline. Anyone who wants to have some historical homework, you should look into the creator of Vaseline and how he met his demise. That's for the ride home. And so you have Vaseline. Vaseline is, Unimpressed. Okay, so Vaseline is, it's a mustard art in itself, the Vaseline, one day. So the Vaseline is a tub, and what happens when you stick your finger in, it makes it indent, and it holds the shape. Any thick cream that holds the shape, to smear, knows you'll have to listen to the rest of the share. Everyone is wondering about Mr. Vaseline, and okay, should I tell you what it is?
I have theories. He's slept.
No. What happened is they say that the creator of Vaseline realized there were so many incredible usages for Vaseline. And he used it for here, and he used it for here, and he used it for this item, that item. And then he apparently bathed in Vaseline, suffocated himself, and died. Whether that's true or not, everyone can fact check this. There's Bali Musar used this as a nimshal, that some things seem so good. And he used them here, used them there, used them here, used them there. And then ultimately it ends up consuming you. And we'll leave it at that. So back to us. So you have Vaseline. Vaseline is nice and thick, and you stick your finger in, it holds the shape. Whereas, for example, what's not so thick? Anyone have? No, that's called water. Thank you. This is called Blistex. So this, I don't even know why I'm trying to show this to everyone. This is not so thick, right? This doesn't really hold its shape, right? It just, right? Everyone saw that, obviously? Okay. Means it's a thick cream. It's a thick cream. You don't understand. Toothpaste. You take squeezed out toothpaste, what does it look like? Very good. That's deraisa. Whereas something, to rub it. We're calling it the Isser Mimareach.
How long does it have to hold it?
So. Let's not get complicated because that's not the point of the share today. We can give a whole share Mimareach, and the Gedarim are extremely complicated, and therefore it's very difficult. But the one thing is clear. Anyone who knows what you use for a diaper rash, the most commonly used items, something called Desitin. Desitin comes in multiple forms. It comes in a tub, or it comes in a squeeze tube. And when it comes out, it is the thickest, the most solid item ever created by mankind. It is this glob. You should go play with it. You obviously have the wrong Desitin, and we'll send you a new one. Yours has been expired from when you were a child, and therefore it got watery. But for the rest of us, understand what I'm talking about. Something thick like that is a deraisa to smear that on Shabbos. That's a deraisa. So you could go and you could buy, there are other creams like Vaseline hand lotion, if anyone knows what that is, Vaseline hand lotion. Those lotions are usually Dirabbanan types of creams because those are more watery. They more flow. They're flowing. Then there's something like water, or oil, which is not mimareach at all, because it doesn't hold its shape at all. Those are the three basic categories of mimareach: daraisa, derabanan, and mutter. So the problem is, now that we circled around and got completely confused in all types of creams, but there are creams, many of them that people like to use, which are isuri daraisa, to utilize them on Shabbos. Based on what we said in the previous year, the question arises: what do you do for the diaper rash? Because it's a raisa, yes?
Are you allowed to mix
So very good. So inquiring minds suggest, and you tell this to your wife, and she says, well, that's ridiculous. The worst thing for a diaper rash is water. Worst thing for diaper rash is water. So it doesn't really work well. Theoretically, if you could water it down, maybe, but it doesn't, it's not so mitziyuti, as they say in Hebrew. It doesn't really work out so well. So that's not. Now, it does work for other things, which we don't have time to discuss right now. For example, we said to rub toothpaste might be an isser, but maybe if you take toothpaste and put it in a cup with water and you dissolve it and you make it into now a drink, now it became mouthwash, and now maybe you would be able to put it into your mouth on Shabbos. So the basic fundamental question is, we need to, I did not say put the toothbrush in and brush your teeth. That would also be also according to Rabbi Feinstein. I said put it in your mouth. That's a separate share, which we can talk about at a different time. So now, how do we get the diaper rash taken care of on Shabbos? So the answer is a fascinating discussion. I said that we pass in Deya Shlishis and Shulchan Aruch and Shin Chav Ches, which is how to do Derabbanans with a Shinoi. There is a Shulchan Aruch HaRav. There is a Shulchan Aruch HaRav. You have to do Derabbanans with a Shinoi. Question is there ever a room to be makel to do Daraisas with a Shinoi? In a case like this, that you can't, you have nothing else to do. Obviously, you should get a cream which isn't so thick. That's the most lechatchila thing to do. But let's say you don't have that, and the baby has a diaper rash. It's a pretty shver matziv, pretty quite a shasad chak, and the baby needs help. So what could we do? Now, I'd be remiss to mention, some people would just say, take a powder, put enough powder on, and it will help. So again, I'm not getting involved in the balabatish intricacies of what you and your diaper rash want to take care of. Some people are okay with creams. Some people are okay with powders. Some people this. That's between you. That's your shalom bayis with your wife as you're changing the baby together. Which, by the way, coming soon in Hilchos Archakas, are you allowed to change a baby's diaper together? Stay tuned. So now, says the Graz the following: Ein oisin loy davar aser midivrei seifin al Yisrael, ella Bishinoi miderech achol. Vaidei shinoi mutter lasois. Afilu, hear the words. Says the Shulchan Aruch HaRav, when you're using a shinoi, you're allowed to even do melacha gemura. You're allowed to even do an iser de araisa. He's talking about a very complicated case I don't want to get into.
No, like a klal. He's saying a klal.
Saying a klal. He's saying a klal. He's saying a klal. He's saying that there is makom to be mekel for a chayla she'ein boy sakana to do isuri daraisa with a shinui. Similarly, there's an igleital that says the same thing. And as well, what we said before we get lost, let's just say the klal first, then we could ask questions. As well, there's a Rav Shlomo Zalman that continues and says, since there are gedolim that are matir, that's his lashon. I think in the footnote over there, he sources the Shulchan Aruch HaRav. Mistaver tiyacholim vadei lahakel if there is no other option. There is no guy and there is no derabanan. Generally, this is not a heter we are makel on. Generally, in I don't want to use extreme numbers, but in basically any other case, to be makel to do a deraisa with a shinoi is very, very shver. Somebody playing with an Isser Deraisa. Okay, you do it with a Shini, it becomes a Derabanan. It's very shver. And we're going to go at all lengths to avoid. This is a very unique case that if someone does not have a guy in the house and doesn't have a cream that's Derabanan, it's a unique case that it's going to be a very, very big Sayrach over Shabbos, and therefore there would be a Makam to be Mekel. But now, let's just understand. If we mentioned the other shiur that there's different types of shinuyim, there's a shinoi in the there's a shinoi in the maisa, and then there's the shinoi in the taitza, right? There's a shinoi in the action and shinoi in the result. And we said it's a machlekes, we said we're a mekel, but when you're playing with a deraisa, you want a real shinoi. You don't want to use some shvacha shinoi. So what type of shinoi could one use? So some suggest to use the back of your hand. For example, you take the tub of desitin. I agree with you, and I'll explain even more of that face. Not just because the little back of your hand. Let's explain the lumbus. You take your tub of desitin, you stick your knuckle in it, you put it on the baby, and you can rub it in with the back of your hand. The lumbus, why that's a shver shinoi, is as follows. If anyone here has ever changed a baby's diaper and or put cream on a baby, sometimes what happens is you maybe put the cream on like this, but it gets on the back of your hand. So what do? You just wipe it on the baby. So that's not a shinoi anymore. If that happens at times, it's not a pashit shinoi. Now, that's a debatable point It is, it isn't. But again, we're playing with fire here. So you really want to get a good shinui. So what would be a good shinui? Again, I keep on talking about the tub, which is easier. Yeah, you could use your foot. And don't give your wife my number after Shabbos. Or, back of a spoon. That's the easiest eitzah. It sounds wild. Lamais is not so wild. You take a plastic spoon. Don't take like this metal freezing cold spoon. That's not so nice. You try it yourself first. Take a plastic spoon, which is bendable. If you want to get a spatula, but listen, I'm not getting involved in, I'm not eating your house anymore. But you take a plastic spoon and you dip it in the back. And now once you do that, then you're okay. Another eitzah is the isser. What is the isser mimhareach? To spread. Now I mentioned anytime you're going to place, it's not so pashut. But again, you have to realize you're playing with fire. So if you have this thick cream, you take the back of the spoon, you place it down, and then you move on. That is what one should do.
Because now it's a shinoi in how you did it and out.
Because there's a shina in the taitzah. Why is it a shina in the taitzah? The taitzah means that the result is not the same. If I go cream like this, I could put exactly where I want it. When I'm using the back of the spoon, it's not as good as a placement. So that's a shina gomer. That would be the best thing. Let's say you have a squeeze tube. And what do you say? And then you also, again, you want to get as many things as you could get here. Also, it would be better to dam. Now, sometimes, usually this comes up in the really shver diaper rashes. That's another akdama. No one should say, you're allowed to do shina and deraisa, and now every diaper I'm doing this. That's shver. It means in a shver matziv. One second. Let's say in a shver diaper rash, sometimes you need a spread. Because you need to get it into the cracks and crevices. For those who know, those who don't, Mirtz Hashem, you need to get into the cracks and crevices. Maybe it's a little bit of a heavier baby. The polkas are nice and geshmak, like they should be. They're nice and healthy. And Baruch Hashem, all my babies are very, very large. You can see the pictures. Baruch Hashem, they thin out later. But they're very, very large. So sometimes you need to get it in. So l'maisa, there'll be makkah to be made. Before I take questions, let's say you have the squeeze tube. This is a debatable point. Which is the Isser Mimareach? Is the squeezing out part of the Isser or not? Because it's coming out. Debatable point. So, l'chayra, again, you're playing with a daraisa. You should try to squeeze it with a shinu. Now, I agree that is not easy. This is not easy to do. And then it gets on the floor. What did it help the baby? Yeah. Listen, there's always ways to get inventive. You can do it with your teeth. You can have the spoon there. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying these are things to keep in mind as the baby is screaming bloody murder and wants to get the red hot fire off of it and change the baby. So that is the way to change a baby's diaper on Shabbos. Obviously, we have not dealt with all the other potential isurim, potential shilos that could come up. But I will end with one incredible detail, then we'll have 3 minutes. I want to read you one line from the Eligur of Chaim. Chaim or Pesach Chaim? What's his first name? Chaim Freelander, right? Chaim Freelander. Based on what we said today, and not really based on what we said today, but a first cousin of this discussion is what about an adult that I don't think we'll call it a diaper rash, but also has a rash or something of this sort, and he wants to put on cream or powder. What is he allowed to do? So the answer is, I don't want to waste all the time with the story. So, I don't want to waste all the time with the story. I want to read you one line over here. So I owe you guys a story. Remind me. The psak halacha is powder. Powder is mutter. The reason why powder is mutter is for a different shir that we spoke about. It's called meichel briyim. It's called that people use it whether they're sick or not. So powder will be mutter. To use a cream, again, will depend upon today's shir. That is diaper rashes in halacha.